On behalf of the board of the Philippine Bayanihan Society in Singapore, I welcome you to the Bayanihan Center. The Bayanihan Center has opened its doors to support the educational, social and cultural needs of Filipinos and others in Singapore. Thanks to the strong partnership between the government of the Philippines and Singapore and the initiative of our founding president, Ms. Jenny Chua, and Vice President, Mr. Ning de Guzman. Since its establishment in 2001, more than 13,500 people have undergone skills training at the Bayanihan Center. But the Bayanihan Center is located at 43 Pasir Panjang Road. It provides classrooms, facilities and support for volunteers and community groups to conduct various short-term courses including basic and advanced computer training, nursing aid, hotel and restaurant management, dressmaking, caregiving, cooking, and baking and cosmetology. To foster the socio-cultural ties between Filipinos and Singaporeans, we also organize the Bayanihan Walk. It is an annual event to bring together people from all across sectors of Singapore in a fun walkathon to promote integration of Filipinos with the Singaporean community. Tara na mak, Bayanihan Center na.
Good evening, a warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, Board of Directors and the Center Managers, allow me first to express our heartfelt gratitude to the Commission on Filipino Overseas for having conferred on the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore the Kaanib ng Bayan Award of the 2021 Presidential Awards for Filipino individuals and overseas organizations. This award is given to organizations for their exceptional or significant contribution in advancing the cause or promoting the interests of overseas Filipino communities. We are honored with this recognition, and we are pleased to share with you this award. We are further inspired and encouraged to continue to serve the community with the same passion and dedication. The workshop talk tonight is part of the Bayanihan Education Series. It is a new initiative that was launched in December to give practical skills to our kababayan here and overseas. Last December, we had two workshops, one on Filipino Christmas carols for children, organized by the creator of the Pinoy BK channel based in Japan, Mr. Bram James Pascual, and we also had a Filipino cuisine workshop on making chicken inasal by Chef Ronette. If you missed those workshops, please visit our FB page, Bayanihan Society. This evening, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Katrina Gisbert. The topic this evening is mental health. It is a big issue, especially highlighted during this pandemic. This education series talk entitled From Surviving to Thriving, a focus on health and wellness in uncertain times, is indeed timely and relevant. And we are very pleased that we are able to partner her in addressing this important concern. May I now invite our Honorary Vice President, Minerva Lau, to introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I have the great pleasure of doing the introduction this time. She is a medical doctor and with a background in psychology, now doing consulting and training and coaching for MNCs here in Asia and the world soon. She has been in Singapore for 14 years, so she will know a lot about what's happening in Singapore. Many changes, and we are really excited to see her and hear from her. All the rest, I'll just be giving a little bit of introduction because you will get to know her more when you see her and when you listen to her. So without further ado, may I now call Dr. Katrina Gisbert Tay.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Minnie and Ma'am Mary. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the Bayanihan Center for inviting me today. You can't imagine how thrilled I am to be able to give back to our kababayan. I deliver, these talks in different countries, and honestly, it just warms my heart that, when I give back and, help and support fellow Filipinos. So thank you for having me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I do have some slides that I do want to share with all of you. And as mentioned earlier, we are going to talk about health and wellness and focus a bit more on mental health and what exactly is happening, particularly in these pandemic times. We're entering our third year already, and we do wonder, is there light at the end of the tunnel? Yesterday, I know in Singapore, it does feel like we are getting there. We have new news, and here's hoping that a lot of us, kababayan, can go back home and see our families. I know I haven't seen my family back in Manila in more than 2 years, so that would be great. So a little bit about me. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, I saw in the participants list some people who are very familiar. Thanks for joining us today. So for me, I'm Kat, or Dr. Kat, or Katrina, as my mom and dad call me. You can call me Kat. I am the founder and director of the Authenticity Institute in Singapore, and I'm also a partner and director of health coaching at the Coach Partnership and head of corporate wellness at the Works Partnership. So here in the work that we do, I've created a health coach training program to be able to train coaches to coach other people on health and wellness issues. So be it in their personal lives, they want to handle that. Is it weight loss or mental health, or be it in the corporate world? Okay, so that's what I train coaches to do. But I also bring in wellness programs for multinational corporations across Asia. My background, I'm a medical doctor, graduated from UST, and I also have a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Ateneo. I am proud to be the first national board certified health and wellness coach here in Asia, and I'm an integrative health coach through Duke University in the United States. I'm also an ICF professional certified coach supervisor, and I'm with the Wellness Coaching Initiative of the Global Wellness Institute. Okay, so enough about me. Let's go on to our really important topic for the day. So I want to start this talk off by saying, first of all, let's make this very informal. Let's make this into a conversation. If any of you who are watching on Facebook or here on Zoom have any questions for me at any time, please feel free to put it on the chat, and happy to have a dialogue with you. And I think I want to start this off by telling a story. Okay, who does not love a good story? So this is about a client that I have, and I am going to blur details, of course, for confidentiality's sake. I was sent a client by a big multinational corporation, by HR, because they said that one of their C-suites, okay, one of their leaders, was having some, anger management issues. So I do coach wellness, but I also coach on the business and executive side as well. So I was sent this client, and all they told me was, the leadership issues that she was having. But when I talked to her and I dug a little deeper into what exactly was going on, here was her context. So she is in her 40s, mid 40s, got promoted quite recently. But a year before that, she was diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, she was diagnosed with cancer. At that time, she was also pregnant with a child. And then all of this came, got promoted, now leading a team of 200 people. And I got it, I understood. Okay, she was under a lot of stress. And also at the same time, I asked her about her health, her well-being, And what were the habits that she was, creating for herself? How was her nutrition? How was her sleep? And something really jumped at me, when we had this first conversation. And she said to me, Dr. Kat, I am sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. And for me, that was a huge red flag. And so instead of working through the business side, which I guess normally, when you're brought in that circumstance, you'd work on the business aspect first, the executive coaching aspect. What I actually did was we worked on her sleep. So we got her from going to 3 to 4 hours of sleep up to 6 to 7 hours in about a month. And a month later, I got a call from HR and she said, hey, CEO wants to speak to you. And I'm like, oh no, what did I do? And they said to me, Kat, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? And they said to me, she's a completely different person. She's showing up very differently. She's an inspiration to the team. She's setting such a good example. She's setting the vision. She's just, oh my gosh, just completely different person. And what I want to emphasize here is that we worked on her well-being. We worked first on her sleep. And you will hear me say this over and over again, and I love this, is that sleep is the mother of health. Okay? Your day begins the night before. Without your sleep, without your well-being, your mood, your emotions, your hormones, all of that can really feel out of order. Okay, so please, please do not minimize or think that your health and wellness and your well-being does not impact your performance or how you show up every day. I also love this saying, and that if we do not take care of our health, we will not be able to take care of what matters to us. And I think that's something that's very timely, particularly in these times that we're in right now. We're in a very VUCA world, right? We're not quite sure, what exactly is going to happen. That stability isn't promised. And so there's a lot of stress going on. There's a lot of anxiety. Burnout is the name of the game. I'm sure a lot of you professionals have heard the Great Resignation, as they call it. And what exactly is happening? What's the connection to our health of all of this? According to the Institute for Functional Medicine, if you take a look at the connection between stress, inflammation, and chronic disease, the relationship between stress and inflammation, it's been studied. There's so much evidence. And what they've seen is that the inflammatory pathway, it's really pivotal in the pathogenesis of many chronic diseases. So we can definitely connect this. That's 75 to 90%. And this is huge, okay? 75 to 90% of human disease, it's related to stress and inflammation, including cardiovascular disease, so heart attacks, for example, metabolic diseases, and neurodegenerative disorders. So what is it that I do? So just to give you guys an idea of, it's a little bit niche because of the background that I have, but I do think this is what's needed, in the future. And what this is, yes, I coach people in different areas of their life. It's not just the work aspects, but I help them to support and nourish their physical, mental, and their emotional health. So not just a focus on business performance, but health and wellness, because time and time again, we've seen that if we don't focus on taking care of ourselves, self-care, being compassionate, putting ourselves first, that metaphor of always put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on others, okay? If we don't take care of us, fill our cup, it has a direct impact on our performance. My role here is not to diagnose. Okay, I don't treat, but I support others to increase their self-awareness of, okay, hold on, what is really going on for me? How do I feel? Am I burnt out? Am I tired? Am I anxious? What's going on? You'll be surprised how many people just go through life as if they're in a drift. Okay, they just go through life riding the waves and not realizing what exactly is going on or where they're going. All right, so the offer I have is, could you live life by design rather than by a drift? What I support others to do is to increase their own personal agency, that sense of responsibility for themselves to take sustainable action towards what they want to create in their lives. Okay, and my hope today with our talk, our educational series, is to just have you pause and reflect and think about what is going on for you in order for you to be able to, perhaps, if you wish, take small actions towards your vision of health and wellness. So we're going to talk today about health and wellness. We'll make some distinctions. What's the difference? And of course, as Ma'am Mary and Ma'am Minnie mentioned, we're going to talk about mental illness and mental health. So we're going to distinguish those. We're going to talk about common mental health issues in the workplace, stress, anxiety, and burnout, which honestly, anywhere, not even in the workplace, even in the home, this happens. What are the ways to support your mental health, and how can we support the mental health of those around you? Again, as I mentioned, if at any time you have any questions for me, please feel free to interrupt me. So health and wellness, let's talk about this. So what is it? How do we distinguish it? So health is a state of being. It encompasses physical health to social to mental health, and it is achieved by breaking down all of these different areas that need attention and taking steps to address each area. So the way that I distinguish, okay, I talk about health and wellness is that it has so many different aspects, okay? There's mental health, physical health, emotional health, financial health, relationships, environmental health, but all of them are parts of a spider web. They all impact each other. So if we take a look at a spider web and we pull it, you pull it from one side, it's very soft, right? It's very fragile. If you pull on one side, everything will come with it. And that's the same with our health and wellness. If we make even a 1% difference, something new, just 1%, I say this to my clients, just make a 1% difference, it will have an exponential impact on your health and well-being. What about wellness? What is that about? A lot of people, use them and, make no distinction. So for me, what wellness is more about, it's about the process of living a healthy and fulfilling life. It is where people become aware of and they make conscious choices toward a more successful existence. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so don't worry, this is not complicated at all, but I just really wanted to show you this. This is John Travis's Illness Wellness Continuum, which on the left side here, on the red side, is more of premature death, right? If you're going towards here, it means you have more illness, more chronic disease. And on the right side here, we have high level wellness. So everyone thinks, or says to me, "No, Kat, but may sakit na ako. I can't do anything. Diagnosed na ako, wala na. May diabetes na ako, or may hypertension na ako, wala na akong magagawa." But what this wellness paradigm shows us is that you can always take a step to the right. There is always hope. There is always something that you can do to increase your well-being. Okay? So I wonder, for all of you here who's listening today, what is that one step to the right towards wellness that you could do for yourself? And it could be as small as adding just one more glass of water a day. Maybe you're not a big water drinker, but we need to be hydrated. Okay, or adding a cup of vegetables, to your meal. Maybe adding another 30 minutes to your sleep. How could it be different? Because remember, wellness is a process. It's not a static state. You are not doomed to be in that state of chronic disease that you may be in. You have that agency and you can do something about it. So let's go to more about mental health and what's happening right now. As we know, this pandemic, it's caused a huge spike in anxiety and in depression. It's really gone up. This is from 2020. I'm sure now it's just gone up much more. And if we take a look at a study that was done amongst business leaders in the Asia Pacific region, 45% of them felt that COVID-19 adversely affected their mental health. And also 60% of them felt that the pandemic affected the mental health of their colleagues. So the impact of this is really huge. But let's take it home. What's happening back home? Right? So in this article by CNA, it says here that there is really a mental health crisis happening. Repeated lockdowns. It's really impacting so many people. And what's scary about this is that, okay, we can see what's happening right now, but what's the effect of this 5-10 years down the road, not just on adults, but also on children who have not been able to go to school, who have stayed home, for almost 3 years now, 2.5 years. In this study by Duke NUS Medical School, what they've stated is that 1 in 3 adults, particularly women and young adults, and those of lower socioeconomic status, are experiencing psychological distress related to the pandemic. These interventions, these lockdowns, the quarantining, social distancing, okay, this day we are quarantining, the next week we're not quarantining, this week we're doing lockdown, the next week we're not, has really an adverse impact on the mental well-being of populations. It is causing increased anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and insomnia. So let's go directly now and zero in on mental health and mental illness. And how do we distinguish this? So I just want to make some distinctions so that we are on the same page, for this talk. So mental health here, we describe it as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes that they have potential. They can cope with the normal stress of everyday life. They can work productively, they can work fruitfully, and they're able to make a contribution. Okay? So here's a huge distinction that I want to make. Being in a state of good mental health does not mean an absence of stress. Okay, I want to repeat that. Being in a state of good mental health does not mean an absence of stress. Stress is not necessarily bad for you, but it is about being able to deal with life's challenges, being able to bounce back when you are faced with setbacks. So what about mental illness? How do we define that? It's very different from mental health. It includes a range of conditions for which there is a standard criteria for diagnosis, okay? Such as depression, anxiety, or substance use disorders. What is going to be really easy to remember in terms of mental illness is that it significantly affects how a person thinks, feels, behaves, and interacts with other people. So a short way to remember this is that it affects people's functioning in their daily lives. So I really did love this article and I want to share it with you. If you haven't read it, please do. It is an article that was in the New York Times back in April, I believe, 2021. And it was called, there's a name for the blah you're feeling, and it's called languishing. And what's very interesting is that there were so many reactions, to this article, and so many people were able to relate to it. And I do think that this is something that even I myself, at that time was actually really feeling, not being able to go home, see my parents, see my sister and her newborn baby. And, let's just dive a little deeper into, okay, what is it? What's languishing? So if we take a look at this model by Keyes and Lopez, okay, and here on the vertical axis, we have mental health. On the horizontal axis, we have mental illness, okay? And that's why I really wanted to make that distinction between the two. Here, okay, we have languishing, which is a state of incomplete mental health. And I think for a lot of people that I am coaching and, friends and people that I met, this is something that they've been in, this feeling, this condition they've been in for quite a while right now. So here we have a state of low mental illness. Okay, so it's nothing that's diagnosable, there's no disorder, there's nothing like that. But also at the same time, there's no mental health. Okay, there's feeling of low level of well-being. Okay, and that is what we call languishing. Why is that important now to actually make that distinction and understand what it's about? Because if you just take a little bit to the left, wherein you have actually high mental illness and at the same time, low mental health. So you're experiencing mental ill health and low levels of well-being, you can go into floundering, okay, which is a state of complete mental illness. This can happen. Now let's go up. What if you're in a state of high mental health? And at the same time, you also have high mental illness. So this is possible. You have mental ill health, but it is managed. You have a high level of well-being. We call that struggling. And of course, on the upper right hand is where we all want to be, flourishing, a state of complete mental health, wherein you have a high level of well-being and no mental ill health. Okay, so it's important to kind of see, okay, where am I right now? Where do I want to be? And what are the steps that I want to take in order to really take better care of myself and avoid, being in this state of floundering, for example. Now let's make more distinctions, okay? Because I believe in the great power of language, and that the more we understand and make distinctions and definitions, the more we'll be able to see if it does live in our lives or not. So how do we distinguish stress and anxiety? Two things that are very different, and people actually confuse them usually for each other. So how do we distinguish them? So what is stress? Stress is a realistic, natural, normal response to a problem. We actually need a little bit of stress in our lives, okay, for our normal physiologic functioning. It is a reaction to a trigger. So what do we mean? Kung nandyan yung boss mo, you need to do a presentation, and then you feel a little bit stressed. It happens. It's a short-term experience, right? But if the boss is not there or tapos na yung presentation, wala na siya. You don't feel it anymore. It's a case of nerves before an event. Like I said, it can be good sometimes and it fades when the trigger is gone. But what about anxiety? So anxiety is more of unrealistic worry. It's an excessive worry that is disproportionate. It is that sense that you are no longer in control. It is persistent. It is constant. It can be triggered by stress, and it does not fade when the trigger is gone. And this anxiety does affect quality of life and daily living. Now, what about burnout? It's something that is so common nowadays. And if I may add, I know I quoted this, more about professionals, but I see this also with, stay-at-home moms who are taking care of kids who are, at home. It's just quite common nowadays. So burnout is a symptom conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress, or like I said, just chronic stress that has not been successfully managed, And it is characterized by these three dimensions, okay? So feelings of energy depletion, parating pagod, exhausted, okay? What about increased mental distance from your job? Di mo na ma-complete yung mga tasks na kailangan mo gawin sa office. Being negative all the time, being cynical, okay? And not being effective. And so what do we do about this? Okay, so there's quite a few things that we can do. But I think one thing that I do want to talk about now that we're living in uncertainty, and yes, we can go into the medical aspect. And of course, if you do need to speak to a health professional, please do, please do. I highly recommend that. But something also to think about for yourself is that in these situations, now that we live in this VUCA world, it's all about how we respond. It's about our behaviors, our own habits. That's going to make a huge impact on your mental well-being. For example, if you are in burnout, in stress, and in anxiety, do you reach out for support? Do you have a core group of friends who are there to really help you? Do you withdraw? Do you assume the worst? Or actually, you're able to see the positive side of things. It's here that really we talk about resilience. And resilience is your ability to cope with change and to cope with adversity. And that's really what we're needing right now. So I'm just, curious, and maybe I'm going to stop sharing for a bit and ask, a few people on the call this question is, what are you doing to take care of your mental well-being? So I'd love to hear from some people, Miss Mary, Ma'am Mary or Ma'am Minnie. I'd love to hear from you. What are you doing to take care of yourself, to fill your cup?
I really like what you mentioned about sleep, because I think that's, when you're busy, you think that, it's the first thing that you can actually compromise because you've got lots of things to do. But I think what you mentioned about sleep being very important, the mother of health, is really something to reflect on, not only reflect, but do.
Yeah, totally. And the impact, my gosh, the impact on just working on your sleep is huge. It's tremendous. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you.
Mom Minnie, what about you? I'd love to hear from you.
Hi, how do we manage our stress?
Yeah, how are you taking care of your mental well-being in these times?
I think, yeah, we do. All of us have stressful jobs, but I guess we need to be determined to stop for a while. Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Go away from the desk.
Yeah.
Breathe fresh air. I mean, I do that. I breathe fresh air. Go have a drink, or just go away from your computers because that's work, and that's stressful work sometimes. So I think that's one of the ways that I do it. So then I'm back up. Okay, we can do this kind of spirit. So
I love that. So taking little mini breaks.
yeah.
And I'm also hearing the importance of being kind to yourself and put yourself first. So I love that. Thank you. Hi, May Macario.
I know.
I was gonna call you. Right?
For my so I was, how do I take care of myself? Yeah, to be honest, it's sleep. In fact, I have supplements support me with my sleep, but most so now, the one thing that I've added, which I've learned from the course as well, was breathing, taking a pause. Really sleep. As much as I would like to say it's an exercise, really sleep makes a lot of difference. Even for my performance, my mood.
Totally. That's so great. Thank you. And I love how everybody like really jumped on sleep because I'm a huge proponent of sleep. So, so, so important. Thank you for sharing. So let's get back to our slides. So what are the things, excuse me, I'm coughing a bit today, so I apologize. So let's take a look at this. How can we actually clear our mind of mental chatter? What is it that we can do for our mental well-being in order to support ourselves? First of all, it's remembering that you are not your thoughts. Okay, you are not your thoughts. Very important. Being able to distance yourself between you and all of that annoying, anxiety-inducing, thrilling, boring thoughts. It strengthens your ability to really focus, your attention. It builds your self-awareness and your reaction to stressful situations. Okay. I love this mnemonic, and if there's something I would love for you to take away, this is one of them. Develop AAA rated mind skills, which is attention or your presence, being in the moment, awareness, and acceptance. Because if we keep on focusing on the things that we cannot control, we really are going to drive ourselves into anxiety and stress and burnout. But what if we change and look at that locus of control and take a look at, well, what are the things that I can control? What are the things that I can do something about? And perhaps letting go of the things that you cannot. Notice how that will support your mental and emotional well-being. And I can't end this talk without talking about what you can do straight away, tonight, tomorrow, steps you can take in order to increase your health and well-being. Okay, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. And it's 5 things. It's a focus on your sleep. Like I mentioned, sleep is the mother of health. Your day begins the night before. Nutrition. Okay, you are what you eat. If you are feeling very blah, your emotions are all over the place, or you're feeling that, oh my gosh, I'm just really not feeling myself and I'm feeling quite down. Take a look. What are you putting in your body? If the food that you're putting in is, full of preservatives, okay, food that is, just very much processed. Okay, you want to look at natural food. Yung pagkain po natin, Pinoy food, okay, our tinola, our boiled soups, all that good stuff. Okay, that's great for our bodies. Gulay, okay. I tell my kids this all the time. They don't always listen to me, but we try. So nutrition, so important. Movement, my goodness. Okay, it's not about the exercise. It's not about, going on that full marathon, but just moving your body. That's so important. Moving your body, stretching, really important. Mindfulness. Okay, and that connects to how are you managing your stress? Okay, how is it for you? How do you start your day? For others, it's, being in meditation. For some, it's starting with a prayer. Could be journaling, taking time out, reading the Bible. So what is it for you? What are you doing to nourish yourself, to nourish your soul? And last, and a lot of people don't think about this, relationships. Relationships are integral, so important to our well-being. Okay? And I'm not talking po about 4,000 people on Facebook, na friends nyo. But really, who are the people, maybe 1, 2, 3 who are your core, your support group, the ones who lift you up, the ones who are there for you? Okay, how are you cultivating that? With your family, with your friends. Okay. So if there is something you could do, maybe just choose one. Like I said, the power of 1%, really the power of 1%. Exponentially in a month, in a year, if you could just do a 1% change, you can make a huge difference in your life. There's an article, 2 articles I would recommend. There's one in the Atlantic, and there's actually 2 from the Atlantic, but there's a quote from this article that I really do love, and I'll close with this actually. And it says, human beings are not passive victims of change, but active stewards of our own well-being. And I want all of you here to understand and know that you have that power to make that change in your life. And not just that, to be a role model for others, to be an inspiration, to show them that, yes, we may be in trying times, but through helping each other, Bayanihan, that's what it's all about, is that we can get through this if we do it together. This is me, and this is my email. If you'd like to get in touch, have a chat, would love to meet you, have a coffee, send me an email. Thank you. Thank you, Ma'am Minnie. Thank you, Mariette, Ma'am Mary.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Actually, there are a few things that we learned, and we really need those tips to keep us sane. And that wellness and mental health are really, really very important, especially in these pandemic times. For those in the Zoom chat, please feel free to send your questions. Also, those in the Facebook, if you are watching, we're having it live streamed. Just feel free to send your questions to Dr. Kat, and she will give you a very inspiring answer, I'm sure. So after there's one here, it's not a question, it's a comment. It's Tere Fermeza Ereno. She said, Doc, I manage my stress to talk to my family in the Philippines or my apo. Yes. And inhale 3 times deep and exhale. So that's what she said is one way of her dealing with stress.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. I love that, she mentioned the breathing, taking an inhale, taking an exhale. A lot of us, when we're stressed, we hold our breath. We don't even breathe. We don't notice it, but we hold our breath. And then we wonder, all of a sudden our blood pressure goes up. We're feeling dizzy, or, we just start not feeling well. But notice also, are you breathing? Right? And I love that she mentioned, about the pause and the family. And I think, honestly, that's what I love about the Filipino culture and our Filipino spirit, is that we're here for each other. Right. So I know a lot of us here in Singapore, some may not have been able to come home the past how many years, but I know that this Filipino spirit, this Bayanihan, is really supporting, mental health of many of our kababayans here in Singapore.
Yeah. We're talking about that. There's a question here for burnout overseas Filipinos. Can you give practical tips to overcome homesickness and depression?
Yeah, no, I hear you. So the first thing that I would say, so this is coming as a health professional, okay, is notice, like, how much does this affect your activities of daily living? Okay, so what do I mean? If it's at that extreme wherein hindi na po kayo alis sa kama, hindi na kayo makain. Syempre, of course, please, seek somebody's, a professional's help. Okay, that's one. The second one that I would also notice is that just being aware of, okay, what exactly is going on? How am I feeling? What's coming up for me? What's my emotions? Okay, it's I think a lot of people don't take that time to pause and reflect. Just pause and reflect and see, saan na ba ako today? Burnout na ba? Gaano katagal? So is it Are you are you overly stressed, or are you overly committed? It's also two very different things, right? Is it that you cannot handle what's going on for you? It could be an overwhelm. Also, on the other hand, it could be, okay, ang dami talagang pinapagawa sa akin, hindi ko siya magawa. In a regular amount of time. So taking a look at that is so important. And the other thing I would say is, of course, aside from the modifiable lifestyle factors, that's really going to help you, is who could you speak to that can support you? And even just taking that one tiny step, that 1% could be reaching out to a friend and saying, "Oy, free ka ba for lunch? Pwede ba tayo magkape? Kailangan ko lang may pag-usap." Okay.
Kailangan ko lang ng ibang tao. We're all social beings, so we need somebody else, isn't it, to be able to talk to and whatever.
Yes, definitely. But the biggest one is just raising that awareness of yourself, noticing, because this could, like I said, you could go from languishing to floundering quite quickly if you don't notice where you are. So thank you for the question.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, there's another question. For Filipino professionals and workers, how would you convince us to go for coaching? Is this, okay, this practical question, is this additional expense? Will company pay for the cost of coaching? And yeah, any tips on how to do this?
That's a great question. So yes, so a lot of my clients come from corporations. But it's not just in the corporate space that you find coaches. There are actually quite a lot of coaches in Singapore. We have Filipino coaches. May is here. She was in our training as well. Also a coach, yeah. And it's just looking and asking for recommendations. That really is, what I want to say to everyone is that each coach has their own swing, their own way of bringing themselves, into the coaching relationship. And what's really important is to see, do you have chemistry with that coach? Right? Because like any relationship, right? One may not be great for you. I may be great with somebody, but for other people, it's just, we're just not in sync, and nothing wrong about that. Not good, not bad, it just is. So getting the recommendations from others, getting references, a quick Google search will actually help you to find a coach. And of course, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, or I can also recommend, I have a lot of coaches here in Singapore, would be happy to recommend that.
Thank you. Yes, that would be good. Yes, I'm still looking for questions. If anyone else has, but don't be shy. I think that's something sometimes we just hesitate to ask a question. Might be very valid and important question, but shy. I don't see any other question.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, Tere again said, thank you so much, Doc, and thank you to Bayanihan for this lesson. I think a lot of people really do appreciate. I think it will just take some time to really absorb everything and then put it into practice. Because as you said, that 1%, that wonderful world, the power of 1%. So we just remember that if we can do better just by 1%, as you sleep 30 minutes more, just 10 minutes more, makes a big difference. So yeah, thank you so much. I think I don't have any question myself, and I don't see any more questions. I think everyone is just happy to hear and learn. If you have any last few words, Doc, please.
Yeah, well, first of all, just thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to give back. I'm really happy to be able to give back to our Filipino community, and to everybody here. If you have any more questions want to know more about coaching, you want to know about health and wellness, like I said, you want to have a chat, you have my email, and let's have a conversation.
Thank you so much. So mga kababayan, just feel free to email Dr. Kat. There is no wrong question. That's, everything is just open. And if we can get help in any way we can, just get that help. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for spending your time with us and sharing your knowledge and skills. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Hi everyone. Before you go, just the last few bits of information that we'd like to share. So our next Bayanihan education webinar is on April 21, 2022. So that's on April 21 from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Our guest speaker is Mr. June Ligonan. He's the creator of Rated J, and he will discuss starting your own social media page. So that's very relevant these days. Please join us again on April 21.
Picture.
So